Very few games in my life have left such a strong impression on me. In fact, I could name those with the fingers in my hands, but they'll get us off track. I'm unsure what exactly got me into this game. I do remember scrolling through Steam sales and finding this game recommendations, liked the style and decided why not, let's play it. And now here we are. But let's go step by step. Upon booting up the game and starting around, we find ourselves stranded in the middle of nowhere. No clear objective, simply a set of coordinates with a vague preview of what's to come. Picayune Dreams, at its core, is a mix of bullet heaven and bullet hell, meaning that each stage alternates between enemy waves of increasing difficulty and ends with a boss battle before proceeding. You, of course, gain experience by getting rid of enemies, or as the game puts it, committing murder. And each level up grants a selection of items for you to pick and choose. There is, of course, a lot more to this. Perks, statues, different suits, this game is stacked with content, but my focus for this video goes towards the story. But what's the story so far? We woke up and started killing things. This UI is very much reminiscent of our control panel. Each upgrade showcases lines of code and the dev screen is a reboot system. In Picayune Dreams, we unlock our story through two methods: character dialogue and memories. The first one is simple: reach a boss, read their dialogue and get some hints. We can easily find out that their name seems to be Seal and that our personality is quite lacking. Memories are unlocked by defeating said bosses for the first time. We might as well talk about them now before we forget. Rabbit is the first boss you will encounter, and for some the first roadblock. Rabbit's archetype is that of the first boss, so her appearance and attitude is a lot more joyful compared to the other bosses. This is reflected in a battle, featuring a barrage of quick and at first confusing patterns meant to reorient you. Being the first boss, she is not too difficult once you start perfecting your movement. Most of my runs usually end up on a hitless win against her, which is not as difficult as you might think. Worm is more unique already, being a boss divided in multiple sections connected by nodes. If a node connecting other nodes is destroyed, the boss splits, making it harder to predict and adjust your movement. Worm's character is a lot more villainous in nature already, presenting himself as a little brain in a jar with eyes attached to it. Worm often talks about wanting to use her body for experiments, which is gross but fits the overall game theme. Biker is all about rushing you down and putting pressure on you by having you maneuver in uncomfortable and sudden turns. Biker's personality is just as strong, very aggressive towards us. Demon is very much the opposite of Biker, being a stationary boss that forces you to play around a limited space. Going outside of this space will make Demon teleport close to you, which will usually lead you to getting hit. Demon's bullet patterns require extreme focus. The whole fight feels like a dance of sorts, perfectly coordinated, playing around the limited space with a moveset that oftentimes forces you to get closer and then far away from the boss itself. Alright, from now on we're entering true spoiler territory. If what I showed you so far interests you, I encourage you to get the game and experience the story for yourself. For those who already know about it, or I guess cannot play the game, apologies for the pause. Upon beating each boss for the first time, you'll be able to collect a USB dropped by them. Once collected, the moment your run ends, you will be given a prompt to review a memory. These memories are playable and can be seen at any time in the loaded section. Let's jump right in, shall we? Now, something to note is how each memory recollection starts from someone else's perspective. We can assume that, with the current knowledge we have in the characters, we're playing as Sil. We have to enter a specific door to access the correct memory. In this case, we enter the first door from the left. The memory opens in this almost ethereal space, surrounded by huge carrots and bunnies. The background is a bright blue sky. It's a peaceful and happy atmosphere until... We're transported into a much darker area surrounded by broken tiles and pillars. The background is now red, almost fleshy looking, it contorts and twists as if it's alive. If the contents of the letter were not enough, the first NPC we talk to openly states that they will all die if we were to fail. Moving on, after a heartwarming family dinner, we stumble upon a piece of paper with a pen nearby. Tall figures stand right in front of us. Reading the paper, it's clear that this is a contract of sorts. I'm sure that won't end badly. We're then warped into a darker version of the previous area. On our left, an exit door. No matter how hard we try, we cannot seem to reach it. Proceeding onwards, images of pills, needles, and documents fill the side of the pathway. A static slowly blurs our vision. We're then taken to a perfectly white room with an helmet placed on the table. With no other option, we take the helmet. It looks similar to what Seal is wearing. Must be standard equipment. What did we learn from this? We can safely assume that this is the memory of the first boss we encounter, Rabbit. We find out what her name is and that she was once human, working for the government for some sort of space mission. It's likely that she was experimented on, or at least was subjected to chemicals and drugs. A pretty strong team is starting to form already. That of peer pressure. Humanity is at risk and it relies on what looks to be teens for saving it. It must be stressful on them. Anyone will feel this way, let alone people as young as them. Once again, we start in the same room, having to enter the second door. However, the first door is still there. Upon entering, instead of accessing the previous memory, we get to see Izu's room, and even interact with her. It's mostly favor text, giving us more context about the dynamics these characters have, and even get to read the perspectives on the situation. We do learn that Izu cares about her friends more than anything. We also learn of a certain Picayune. Apparently she had some sort of wake-up call recently that made her a more active member in the group. Let's move on to the second memory now. The second memory opens in a regular bedroom, a sharp contrast from the previous one. It's as if Izu's imagination was stronger than the others, leading to a more warped recollection of events. This is Matt, our second boss, and from his room we can gather that he seems to be struggling. A lot, in fact. All the work he's been put through is making it harder and harder for him to keep up, and as he puts it, he's doing the best he can. On the ground there's a letter, complaints about performance, and an order to head to a meeting. Leaving the room we find ourselves in a hallway. Each door mirrors the ones we see in the opening to the memory section. We get to see more details about other characters. Izu's an example is more of an athlete than a thinker. The third room is Harley's, we can assume our third boss. She was mentioned in Izu's notes too. She apparently has a strong enough personality to act as a leader. Alex's description is a bit more sad. Both her and Matt got a letter from higher ups about their performance. At least that's what Matt thinks. We proceed downstairs and we get to meet the rest of the cast. Izu is of course worried about Matt dropping out. Harley tells him not to do anything stupid. Alexis takes all the blame, calling herself a failure, and as you might imagine, she didn't get the letter. We proceed, eventually entering a medical room. Matt's memory is a lot more straightforward. The government straight up makes him a cyborg, destroying what little humanity had left in him. His memory elaborates more on what the government is doing, running tests and experiments on teens with the goal of saving humanity. We still know for certain what they're trying to save humanity from, but we see the consequences of the tests here. We get to access his room as well. It's empty, with simply a charge pad and a tablet present. Talking with Matt, his personality is completely absent. He apologizes for feeling distant, he's not doing it on purpose. Reading his logs, Matt expresses concern towards Picayune, giving her distrust towards his superiors. Apparently she's openly concerned about the enhancements Matt has gotten. Harley's memory begins similarly to Matt's. Unlike Matt, however, we're heading out to get something to drink. Unlike other memories, the tone of this is a bit more relaxed. We get to see the outside world and interact with more people. Whether or not that's a good thing is up to you to interpret. Moving on, we enter a mini market and one of the stall figures is present. We cannot interact with it, however. We can safely assume that these figures are supposed to represent those in control of the project. This is pretty much confirmed as soon as we pay for our drink, step out, and Harley feels a crushing weight on her shoulders. She feels as if she has failed humanity. What good leader cheats their tests? When we see her in the boss form, these feelings are gone, but is left is over-the-top strong attitude, a persona she has tried to keep before. Similarly to Matt's memory, everything begins to corrupt. The screen face with the word guilty pops up on screen. The obstacle present in the previous section are replaced with members of the crew. We step back inside after a brief jump scare, meeting up with the others. Holly expresses her concern and doubts for the first time, asking Alexis if they're going to save the world. The two embrace each other. This memory gives us all the information we need to understand the role Harley has taken, letting us understand Harley's perspective on the situation. She feels pressured into keeping her role despite the fact that she's clearly not suited for it, to the point where she has to cheat exams in order to pass. This goes unpunished, but the feeling of guilt remains. It's something that we will see more moving on. We get to visit Harley's room. She thanks us for what we're doing, being more open to us about the way she's feeling about the situation. This is later solidified while reading her logs, admitting that Picayune is a better leader than her. The final memory is from Alex's perspective. It opens up on a running track, with the time of each member being displayed. Matt is present here as well. Upon interacting with him, we found out that Alexis is planning to ask Harley out, with Picayune once again being mentioned, this time as one of those in the know of this interest. We go through a hallway with several trophies being displayed, and we come to learn that were it not for the others, she would have left the project a long time ago. We enter the locker room, can interact with the lockers, and some hide some Easter eggs, but we don't care about that. We approach Harley and ask her out, but Harley refuses. Not out of malice, rather the stress she and everyone else has been feeling as of late. Alexis remains silent, her mind running laps, unable to reply until She slowly gains a hold of herself, breaking free from the mental lock she puts herself into. It's not healthy, her motivations are entirely selfless, but it's what she needs to move on at the moment. Like other memories, this one doesn't end here. We get to see the aftermath of everything. All the work, all the tests, all the suffering. We're back in the hallway we started viewing these memories from, alarm playing in the background as lights illuminate the scene. You can explore the rooms once again, but its inhabitants are missing. Only their helmets are present, except for one room, Picayune's. Walk in and take a peek at her notes. Final message. Testimony of what she and the others went through, stating how she will do everything to make them pay. With outside of the room, with the others, everyone is distressed. They don't know what's going on, and Piggyman especially is going through a mental breakdown. And that's all the memories. What did we learn from this? For starters, humanity is at risk, facing an event called the Aberration. We also learned that they are trying to stop this by sending what looks to be teenagers into space. Great idea, that never goes bad. We learn about the bosses and that they too were once trying to stop this event, but got killed by Picayune. Speaking of which, one thing I appreciate about this game is how we're not giving extended documents worth of lore. It trusts us with the task of understanding what's going on and let us come up with the answers to our questions. What the aberration is and what it does simply does not matter. We understand that whatever it is bad for humanity and it's threatened by it. And we see its effects here in full display. Now, I named this section Picayune for a reason. I purposely limited any conversation about this character until now. After all, the game does the same. Seal and Picayune are the same person, but also not. The aberration seemingly split the conscience of Picayune and her body, manifesting said conscience into this reality-warping menace that is the final boss. As for Seal, the final cutscene we watched puts heavy emphasis on Picayune's helmet still glowing with a green light. Picayune was the only person wearing one. Coincidentally, Seal is the only character we play as, and she does wear the helmet. What I'm getting at is that Seal is not an actual person, rather a body being puppeteered by none other than the same people behind the project. The death screen I mentioned before features a reboot sequence that is forcefully enabled without giving us any time to even select an option. As for Picayune, she's the final boss. I did not mention it in the previous sections because I didn't want to spoil it. But if you made this deep, then surely you already know about it or just like to hear me yap. Good for you if that's the case. Now, back on topic. This is the final boss in the main game and the last roadblock we need to overcome in order to save humanity. This battle is hard. We're talking about 3 phases of pure bullet hell, patterns that recall the previous bosses but harder, an amazing soundtrack. What is there to say? A bit actually. We're going to learn that picayune has been absorbing the aberration, growing more powerful and aiming to destroy those who are wrong there. Who, you might ask? Well, everyone. Humanity is, according to her, not worth saving, especially after the sacrifices her and many others have gone through. How many, you ask? Well... a lot. We know that because of the secret boss, Ghost, who openly says it upon defeating it. Picayune has become the very thing she was meant to fix, adding herself to a list of threats humanity is facing. It's our, or her, job to fix it? Regardless, she has to go, and upon beating her, we get a choice. This entire time we've been a puppet to others, yet at this moment we're seemingly giving a choice. On one side we could go away, forever wandering space. Our job is fulfilled and we have no reason to go back. On the other side, we could go back, put this rotting body to rest and hopefully see humanity heal after our accomplishment. For the purpose of this video, we choose to head back. We're greeted by a cutscene narrating what happens later on, and unsurprisingly, humanity did not learn from their past mistakes. Our efforts are seemingly useless. We are not what humanity needs, but rather what humanity wants. All those sacrifices meant nothing, and everyone moved on. Humanity moved on, still facing the same issues, still slowly poisoning itself. But that's not the only ending. After defeating the first 4 bosses without getting hit, this cutscene plays. Picayune accepts the consequences of her actions, releasing all the aberration within her and restoring the cast back to real Joe forms. It's cheesy but nice. Seeing these characters enjoy a nice day at the beach after the hell they went through had me smiling at the screen like an idiot, if I'm being honest. And that's Picayune Dreams. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. It took me a while to come up with a script I find enjoyable, and most importantly, comprehensive for people unfamiliar with the game. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking the video, maybe hyping it, unsure how that works, but any kind of support is appreciated. Subscribing is also nice, by the way. Another reminder to play this game. It's seriously awesome and needs more recognition. Won Game Maker Award in 2084, which is awesome, but seeing more people talk about it will be amazing. That's all. See you next time.